Okay, what day is it? I've lost count.
Day 6.
7, 6, 7.
Yeah.
Uh, maybe 6th day here. We left a week ago today. It's Thursday to Thursday. So we are driving through the
Okay, presto.
amazing Custer State Park right out of Mount Rushmore, and it's just this.
Which podcast is this?
This is the Marital Arts podcast with Jon and Tara, J&T Marital Arts.
We just went up our second corkscrew bridge.
Yeah, you look at the map and it's like, why does the road loop around on itself? Well, you're actually corkscrewing up to get to a higher elevation.
Yep.
Up a bridge, you go under the bridge and then you corkscrew up onto it.
Like a parking ramp.
Oh yeah, like a parking ramp. It's just, so we're all worried, okay, maybe not Jon, but I was concerned that we had to go to the right place. We still are not sure entirely that we're headed to the right place to go on the...
That's part of being on vacation.
The wildlife loop, yeah. If we don't, I think we've just kind of settled into it's our thing that we don't overplan a vacation. We just tend to just say we're going here. Make sure we, of course, have our accommodations, right?
We're coming up on a 1-lane tunnel. Where were we?
We were just at Mount Rushmore.
The beautiful Mount Rushmore with the former presidents.
It is,
Well, here we go.
it's really incredible.
1-lane tunnel.
We're going to have to...
Okay, presto. I'm taking video.
Good job. I was just going to say we'll have to okay this. Wow. So I was concerned coming from Mount Rushmore, like, okay, we're going on I want to go on the wildlife loop in Custer State Park. How are we going to get there? Still don't know if this is exactly how you get there, but there are signs coming out of Mount Rushmore to Custer State Park.
Right.
Which conflicted with what I had found in maps. So I think we're clearly getting the scenic route.
Now this is great.
It's
Single 1-lane road right now.
Absolutely incredible.
People might be wondering why I keep saying, okay, presto, and they hear that bing, road. So we're using the Owl Cam on our trip, and it's part of our security for our trip. It's a dash cam. The Owl Cam, a future sponsor of the J&T Marital Arts podcast, because married people everywhere love the Owl Cam. Even single people love the Owl Cam. You can use the Owl Cam to take video like I just did. Okay, presto. And it takes a little 30-second video, and it's high quality 4K video, and it does inside the cab and outside the cab if you want it to. The Owl Cam. Check it out.
So it's saying that no signal, but we'll upload later.
Yep,
so
there's no signal in these hills, so it's got internal memory, so it's recording. And then as soon as it has signal, it will upload the videos, and I'll download the clips, and we'll put them on our clips channel. Yeah. How about that?
1-lane tunnel ahead again. We're
Nice.
corkscrewing around again into another tunnel.
Look at that boulder.
Holy cow.
Not as gigantic. Okay, presto. Massively awesome. Oh, look, they got a little jackery they're plugging in for their solar power.
Got a few vehicles parked and
Camper, a Harley, a Razor, and 2 Jeeps. Jeep Cherokees.
But Owl Cam too, awesome for a trip like this and, getting some footage. But we use it all the time when we're back at home, particularly when I'm driving into the cities or we have bikes on the vehicle.
We have them in both our cars. They're on all the time. They plug into the OBD sensor. If you get in an accident, it will automatically call 911.
How does it know to call?
Because it's hooked into the car's OBD sensor. It knows if the airbags go off.
Oh, wow.
It knows if the car has been hit. And it'll also give you alerts if the car is bumped or if somebody leans on the car and they're looking in.
Yeah, you can get notifications on your phone.
Yep. I use it all the time.
Okay, I didn't know all those 50 gadgets.
Owl Cam.
I knew that you get the notifications, so that's super handy.
Keep yourself and your family secure with the Owl Cam.
Yeah, well, and your stuff.
Yeah.
Use your stuff or take awesome footage.
Yeah. If you have expensive bikes on the back of your vehicle or you're pulling your camper.
wow, this is just like rocks and pine trees sticking out, and looks like some birch. And now the lanes are dividing again, so you have a single lane.
These are
one
some
way.
huge white pines. Look at these.
They're just
Gigantic diameter.
You know, the only other place that compares to this,
California.
to me, was the redwood forest.
In California.
In California, Northern California, and it just smelled amazing, similar to here, different but similar. Where when you're among the pines, you just it's all that you smell, but it's like you just naturally smell it. It's not obviously like a pine cleaner or something.
It's not like pine salt.
Well, right. But actually, pine
This road is fun.
is healthy. It helps your lungs.
Yep.
It's a natural antiseptic for the lungs. Just a little herbal side note.
It's
there.
good for the pineal gland also.
Well, the pine.
Pineal.
And the yes, and the pollen from pine is known to be a natural testosterone booster.
Yeah.
Analog.
That's what I like.
Holy cow! There's like a cliff there.
We just got into Custer County. Just pulled across the border. So we're heading in the right direction.
You know, so back at Mount Rushmore,
Look how the piles of burning in the woods.
Yeah.
They're taking care of their forest here, so it doesn't have a lot of
you're saying
fallen branches. Yeah, they'll burn those. They'll burn those piles and maintain the fires, so then they don't burn down the forest.
What a good idea.
It's called forest maintenance, California.
So at Mount Rushmore, what occurred to me is you can spend several minutes gazing at the monument, and it absolutely is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
But I could spend all day in the museum reading about how it was done. You could spend more than a day. Like you said, you could spend a month studying how it was all created. And I think that's really testimony to anything that's really great. And there are so many things that have been created in this world that are absolutely amazing, but we don't see them.
Right.
You know, they're not a national monument, but they might be something conceptual or digital or something, or just interpersonal.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, like a family takes a lifelong dedication. You know, more than the, you know, dozen years that it took to build Mount Rushmore. But you do, but you don't necessarily see all of what went into it. And so I think as I was reading and thinking, gosh, I could spend all day here reading and admiring the work that went into and the artistry and inspiration and the resources into carving out Mount Rushmore. How many other things are there in our world that if there were a museum to explore how that was created, you would be absolutely in awe.
Yeah.
Probably many, many, many things.
Yeah.
And I think it's a testimony too that it's about, it is not just about the end result. Absolutely, the journey that it takes to create any worthwhile endeavor in life is the amazing part. You know, the museum was full. You know, people were reading about how it was created and so many things. So anyways.
Yeah, there was a lot of people. I heard several people say, man, you could spend all day in here.
So.
Sorry if I'm chomping. I'm eating dead buffalo. I'm eating Patagonia provisions, spicy buffalo jerky.
And the spicy isn't like overwhelmingly spicy. I actually prefer the spicy one over the regular.
Yeah. Patagonia Provisions, a future sponsor of the J&T Marital Arts podcast. When you have a little hunger pain or you're just on a hike, Patagonia Provisions will keep you moving.
When I first had that the other day, my mouth watered so much, and it occurred to me perhaps one of the reasons why hardtack's another thing, but why dried meat or cured meat was taken on the trail. And you know, because you think, oh, it's dried. Why would you eat something dry when you're out on potentially a dry, long trail or something? but it makes your mouth water so much.
Yeah.
I mean, you still need water, right? We're coming up to another
Tunnel.
Are we on our way back already?
What?
Are we on our way back?
Back to what?
To where we came from?
No, we didn't see the Custer State Park yet there.
Scoville Johnson. John, I think we're in it.
Okay, presto.
Are we in it?
We crossed over the Custer County line, but we're not at the state park yet, no.
Okay, well, I'm glad you're paying attention.
We're not on the animal loop either, if we are technically in the park somehow.
Yeah, this is, I mean, we've been on incredible roads this whole time. This one is, if you were to only go on one, this would probably be the one to go on.
This is spectacular. Yeah. It's the road to the Custer State Park out of the road from Mount Rushmore. So as you're leaving Mount Rushmore,
just follow the signs.
You're going back downhill. Follow the signs. This is great. This will be a great motorcycle road.
Oh yeah.
Remember how we went to Pikes Peak, and we had the camera on your head?
Yeah.
We mounted the camera on your helmet, the GoPro. And I told you just look at the sights and move, pan slowly, and so that we get good video. That's great video.
Yeah.
All the way up Pikes Peak.
I'll have to find that video.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pikes Peak you can see all around. Here you can see through the trees, and then you'll get a glimpse of another mountain in the distance.
This is phenomenal. Okay, presto. I've been making clips, as many clips as I want.
Phenomenal.
Oh, you labeled it?
Yeah, tried.
Tara said, it got long. I said, I want as many clips as I want. I heard that. So after you say that phrase, it gives you a second to say a name for your clip. And then it tags that clip with that name. Very intelligent. Man, this is like the Rocky Mountains. These boulders are, this is like bedrock sticking out of the top. And you can see on some of the hills how the stratification was pushed up. Like whatever makes the mountains, pushes them up. That thing that makes the mountains that nobody knows what it is. Because we've never seen a mountain get made.
What stood out to you at Mount Rushmore?
I think the people that saw the mountains get made, that was quite a catastrophe.
Yeah. Too bad they're not around to tell us about it.
4 faces of 4 presidents stood out at Mount Rushmore to me.
So I'm going to get my phone out and
read the plaques you took pictures of?
Yeah, well, the ones in particular, I'll post these too, because I think I'm not going to read all of them, but I think at least reading why these 4 presidents.
Are you going to post them on your Instagram?
Yeah.
Tara Backlund at Instagram.com. TaraBaklund at Instagram.com.
Yeah.
On your Instagram app? Nice.
The meaning of Mount Rushmore. The 4 American presidents carved into the granite of Mount Rushmore were chosen by the sculptor to commemorate the founding, growth, preservation, and development of the United States. They symbolize the principles of liberty and freedom on which the nation was founded. George Washington signifies the strength for independence and the rebirth of the Republic. Thomas Jefferson, the territorial expansion of the country. Abraham Lincoln, the permanent union of the United States and equality for all citizens. And Theodore Roosevelt, the 20th century role of the United States and world affairs and the rights of the common man.
Teddy, or T-Dog as I call him.
T-Dog.
Yeah, I call Thomas Jefferson T-Dog also.
Not to be confused one with another.
No. Wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
There's 4 very important men in our country's history. It's powerful.
Well, the sculptor named his son Lincoln, so
Yep.
he must have admired him.
And the sculptor was?
What was his first name? Why am I having a hard time remembering? I saw it like a million times when we were in there. Dude, you know the answer, right?
You got it on one of your pictures?
No, I don't think I
Last name?
Borglum or something?
Borglum.
Borglum? No, I didn't take pictures of that. Sorry, folks. That did not stick out. Okay, just for the record, history was not my strong subject in school.
It was.
And
Well, I'm not exactly remembering because it's an odd name. Was it Gustav or Gustav or?
no, we should just stop and probably. uh,
Isn't the drive scenic here?
And by the way, that's so weird how you can see something.
So which marital art are we practicing today?
Well, there's
Probably all of them.
probably all of them. Let me look this up.
There hasn't been any massive coping that has to have been done today because we're on day 6 of our vacation. And so our coping with all the things we've had to deal with and all the struggles with letting go of work.
I don't know. Are you coping with, because this was something I requested to do. Is this you coping?
What, going to Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, and doing this kind of stuff?
I enjoyed it. It was the first time you've been there, right?
Yes.
I've been there before. I wouldn't have had to go, but I'm actually into what we're doing. You know, driving up there, hanging out, walking around.
Okay, people can forgive us. This is why it was hard to remember this guy's name. Okay, it's Goodson.
Goodson, yeah. Goodson.
He actually has a fuller name, a longer name. It's John Goodson de la Moth Borglum. Wow. But fortunately for us, he shortened it.
Well, the problem is, they don't say his name, they say the Borglum story.
Yes.
They say, come and learn about the Borglum story. That over and over and over again. They don't say the Goodson Borglum story or the John Borglum story.
Yeah. And he was actually born at a time, 1867, where Idaho was still a territory.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, now we're going downhill quite a bit.
He died of a heart attack the year that the monument was finished,
Well,
1941.
That'd be about right, right?
Oof.
After all that work.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Going through everything from funding to the correct workers to...
Made it through the project.
I don't think anybody died on the project, did they?
I didn't see anything about it,
No,
but
I don't
they
think
would
so.
want to highlight it.
Well, they would memorialize them.
I would think so. I did think that at some point, like, I wonder, not to be, well, you do wonder, like, it was such, literally, a monumental project, you know? Like, the nose of Washington was, like, 23 feet long,
Yeah.
you know, to give some perspective of scale.
Mm-hmm.
And in the early days before I think they put in a lift, but in the early days, they had to climb 700 stairs just to start work. And that was at 7:30 in the morning.
It's a good way to wake up. I'm sure they had Folgers in their cup.
Something. But just, I mean, the tools, machinery, and in that day and age, you know, there was nothing made of plastic to make anything lighter.
No. A lot of them were carrying jackhammers up there. They were a small jackhammer. They looked like they were air powered. So they had air pistons. But that was probably 30, 40 pounds of jackhammer. So imagine holding that all day long.
And then once you get up there,
Then you have to be an artist with it.
and apparently a lot of the crew were local people who were trained. And so the sculptor actually trained. Can you imagine?
Training on the job, yeah.
Can you imagine doing something that, you know, is permanent, first of all,
Mm-hmm.
and is literally an art?
Well, that's a really good idea, actually. Because then you get a feel for who the person is and what they can learn, and you know where you can put them. Because we've done that in our company, we train many people that were not machinists, and you know their capabilities, you see how they're learning. They don't technically have their own ideas about how things should be done,
Oh.
so you don't end up with that kind of stuff, because like you said, it's permanent. If there was a mistake, they'd have to go deeper to change it, deeper in the rock face, you know. You know?
Yeah, if it can be.
That'd be some shite.
Yeah. Or if you hit a crack, a fissure, and all of a sudden the ear falls off.
Right.
Or something like that. So now we're in kind of a valley, a little bit of a valley. There's some farms and horses, more ranches, I would say. And
I think this is where Hidden Valley Ranch is made.
maybe.
Because this is like a hidden valley.
So, being in the machinery background, anything stand out to you about the equipment and?
Well, I understood what they were doing. They, like you read, they would heat up the drill bits before they would sharpen them. Well, they were probably sharpening them so often so you could anneal the material. So heating it up would anneal it, make it softer. Then you would grind it, and then you would put it back in the heat treat oven, and you'd either temper it or you'd heat treat it so it's hardened. And that made sense. They called them blacksmiths, but like I said, the blacksmiths were making ingots and doing other stuff like that, maybe heating up the drill bits before they would get sharpened. But they had a lot of machinery, so they were machining a lot of things. People don't realize how long we've had machinery. You know, you look back in the 1800s and people think everybody was just dumb and riding horses and, you know, buffalo are dangerous, do not approach. Okay, presto.
Roads only. So,
Mm-hmm.
just, well, it didn't occur to me, even though I grew up in a family where my dad's an engineer and worked, in manufacturing companies and stuff, I didn't have the context until I met you, and you're like, well, my family, we are machinists or tool makers, and I'm like, well, what is that? And you're like, we make stuff that makes stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, so use the example of Mount Rushmore, and they call them blacksmiths, but you said they're probably more than that. But they were making stuff. They were literally making the equipment and repairing equipment that was making the monument or revealing the monument out of the.
And mostly they were working with the bits. They had chisel bits. They had kind of 4-prong looking bits so they could angle and cut, and then they could shatter rock directly.
Do you think they would end up making special tools occasionally?
Oh yeah.
Maybe they had a guy who was like.
There was several different types of bits, tips for the jackhammer.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they tested out and they came up with a way, because this is one of the largest monuments in stone in the world, right? Probably the largest. And they probably figured out a lot of things about what worked and that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. On the spot, on the site.
Yeah.
And so then they're like, hey, they'd go have a blacksmith meeting and they'd say, make the tips like this. I don't know if you saw, they had a round tip, which would be a smoothing tip.
Yeah, I think they called it buffering.
Okay.
Yeah, that they would do at the end to make it look smoother and be like more like a sidewalk surface. That was one of the plaques I got to read.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet they discovered a lot of things, because the artist was originally, apparently he knew even at age 14 he wanted to be an artist, and started in drawing and painting and then sculpting, and actually sounds like met the right people to then go to London and Paris and study with the people.
And didn't you say that Borglum married his art teacher?
Yeah.
See?
Yep.
Smart guy.
Yep. And became a really renowned artist.
And you married your martial arts teacher?
Yeah. Just have remaining to become a renowned martial artist. So in his lifetime, he had 30
commissioned sculptures
around the world.
Yeah, and they were very large.
Very, very large and impressive. Not just in scale, but you can, you know, you can find sculptures all over the place.
Right.
And it's just like any art, right? There are levels upon levels. And he did I forget what it was called, but it was a really large, very large piece that had like multiple horses and men, and it was so large there wasn't a foundry large enough to
In America.
So the pieces had to be sent to Italy and then sent back. I mean, wow.
Yep.
So, so those weren't out of stone. What would those been?
Bronze.
Yeah. So pretty incredible for sure.
Well, I want to see some buffalo here. This is wide open country.
Yep.
The hills are a lot more rolling here now, less rocky and craggy.
Yeah, they're
so
lower.
We should see some buffalo here soon. There's lots of pull-off spots.
It is 12:30.
See, here's like a big pull-off. 12:30. That means they're out to lunch.
Yeah, they might be out to lunch. Well, our friend who lives in the area said that they move more in the earlier part of the day, which I guess would make sense.
Yeah, it's cooler. They might be bedding down under the trees in the shade. So those are some of the things I saw. All the machinery looks very familiar. You know, I look at machines, some of them, sometimes it takes a minute to figure out what they did with them because they don't have everything. And you know, they don't have all of the equipment that goes with the larger piece of machinery. So then you got to kind of guess a little bit. And I always look at the machine first before I read anything to try and figure it out. That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Like we have a piece of equipment in our shop that is probably 85 years old, so it's even older than my dad, and we use it almost every day. And that's really the Hardinge hand chucker. It's a lathe. A bunch of Harleys just went by. So we use that lathe practically every day because you're always either polishing something or turning something or putting a hole in something, you know, in a rod or any kind of small diameter. We use it mostly for small diameters. Think about a chuck on it and you could grab something that's square if you wanted to. But
yeah, it must be particularly neat to an artist, someone who's worked with machinery like that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not even like that, but.
Well, and obviously the Mount Rushmore is a very patriotic place. You know, it's a place. It's a you know, like you said, the presidents have been immortalized in stone. You know, the 4 different presidents for their 4 different stages of America's development. You know, evolution and solidification and that type of stuff. Unity. It's a place where you can really feel pride about America and just be like, yeah, that's right. You know, we have had incredible people in our history that have set the pace, set the tone, and gave their lives, you know, whether it's public service or, you know, even fighting in the Revolution, you know, Washington and Jefferson and, you know, signing the Declaration and the Constitution and that type of stuff. Lincoln with the Civil War and the abolishment of slavery and instituting well, I'm not going to go too far in what he wanted to do with silver certificate or greenbacks or silver certificates. Yeah, silver certificates, I think it was. But you know, it's really great. You know, you see a lot of people there wearing American flag shirts. We saw the veterans organizations with their shirts, or even the biker veterans with their vests flying their colors and stuff. And it's just great to see. There's a lot of foreigners there too. We talked with a Chinese guy. He was traveling he was going to Wyoming, and he came from North Dakota, South Dakota, going through Minneapolis, and then going down south, and talked with him for a few minutes. He was really excited to be doing that, be in America doing that kind of stuff. You could hear he had quite a heavy accent still. So he's original Chinese. It's nice to see. You know, and we welcome everybody as long as they're here legally. I took a picture of a guy. So, you know, we Keystone is a place that you saw, right?
Yeah, well, it's in or next to Keystone.
Read this out loud.
That expanded a little bit.
Yeah.
Chris Greenwich Keystone is determined to become a citizen of the United States, despite the fact he is 53 years old and can neither read nor write. His application for citizenship was continued in a hearing for naturalization here Monday, but Greenwich declared he will try again a year from now. In the meantime, he said he plans to learn to read and something about the government of the United States. Insufficient knowledge along those lines caused his downfall Monday. He is native of the part of Europe which was formerly Austria, later Czechoslovakia, and now Germany. Wow. Well, that's perfectly reasonable.
There is a plaque of him in the Borglum Museum. Obviously, you know, somebody that wanted to be an American citizen and was going about it the correct way. Mm-hmm. And guess what? He was a white guy.
Yeah. Well, and so many of our ancestors came through that way. Yep. You know, I think as a majority.
My great grandma came through Ellis Island when she was 14, 15 years old. Came here by herself from Norway.
And I had to go through the process. You know, I don't tear up easily, but there were a number of times when we were there that actually was tearing up and feeling emotional.
Yeah.
About, you know, I'm extremely grateful to have been born in this country, but also not just that, but just I think it's just incredible what we have here.
It is.
All right, Custer State Park.
Here we are. Woo! We can get our picture on the way out.
Gonna pay them $20 for a 1 to 7 days pass.
Yep, we're gonna stay here for 7 days. We're getting our maximum out of that $20. Yep. Not just throwing away this cash.
Pause it.
Pause.